Yes, Cora Olsen, you are from Novo Nordisk. How do you actually work with ESG in your company?
So ESG is very much integrated into everything that we do in how we operate the company. It's part of our articles of association that the company has to be managed, taking into account financial, social, and environmental dimensions of performance. So it's part of how we work. In terms of the external communication, we've been very focused on making sure that what we disclose to the world is something that has a strategic purpose. You will not find ESG disclosure in our annual report that does not serve a business purpose or have another relevance to the company of strategic importance. So for us, it's very much about having something to steer the company by.
It sounds very natural, but has it always been like that?
It has been like that for many years. Of course, that is something that has evolved and matured throughout time. In 2004, our chairman at the time, Mads Øvlisen, who was leaving the company, made one of his final missions was to include what we call the triple bottom line into the Articles of Association. And that actually, since that was approved at the annual general meeting in 2004, has been the way that we then have chosen to disclose our business information, if you will, in the annual report. That has been from a financial, social, environmental responsibility perspective.
You are in the pharmaceuticals industry. Previously, we heard about a company in the transportation industry, and they said their analysts or investors were not that interested in ESG issues. Is that the case for your company as well?
I think it varies a lot. We do see certain investors being very, very interested. Others don't proactively reach out and engage on the platform. But what we do is actually push the information instead, because for us, it's a business. It's an important part of how we operate, how we are managed. So if we are not asked, we will push the information. So because that is an important part of who we are.
One thing that has frustrated investors and also companies is that there are no standards within the ESG world. How do you cope with that?
I can understand the frustration because it's been part of my work, my world as well, working as the ESG responsible for person at Novo Nordisk. I think one of the challenges is this notion that everything is quantifiable. It is not in terms of ESG. It is oftentimes also very much qualitative. Another issue is, yes, you may be able to standardize how you calculate CO2 emissions, how you calculate water consumption, how you calculate occupational accidents. But what does it really tell you about the company? I think one of the standards are challenged by the fact that they don't actually allow for real benchmarking. You can't really compare even within sectors. So what does our CO2 emissions mean compared to that of Novartis or Sanofi or Eli Lilly? Yes, it's two numbers and you can look at them, but we're still very, very different companies in terms of size, how we produce. So it doesn't really tell you that much. I think that is one of the key things, and lack of clarity around accounting policies.
And on a practical note, I've noticed you've done some other things. I mean, when you have requests from data companies to give your data points, what do you do?
So historically, we've actually been feeding all of the information that we have been requested. And it has been extremely time consuming. I have been the key person driving that process with the engagement with the raters and rankers. But what we have chosen to do is actually say full stop, have a conversation internally to discuss and agree on how do we actually approach this, because we spent so much time, and it's not just my time, it's lines of business that have to be disturbed not weekly, but at least monthly, to provide new information sliced and diced in a different way than previously. So what we have decided to do is that we will build an investor platform to level the playing field, make sure that everyone has access to the same information, simply just making sure that everyone has access to what we then deem is material for investors to know. It will be framed into something that's called the Future Fit business benchmark, but hopefully this will save us time and also allow investors, raters and rankers, to more easily access information whenever they need it.
And what about the rating agencies? Are they happy about your decision?
So it's been communicated to them because they reach out when they need information, and they get a response back saying that, thank you, but we will stop it right here, but check back in on Capital Markets Day when we will launch a new ESG data site, right? Of course, they don't like that we are challenging the methodology, but we simply can't continue this unsustainable, if you will, investment of our resources in terms of FTE time. So we want to level the playing field.
Thank you.
You're welcome.